Let's start with the House vote to repeal health care. U.S. Congressman Bobby Schilling is a Republican from Illinois. Congressman, thank you so much for joining us. How do you see this now, this vote today? What is the import of voting to repeal health care, knowing the Senate, which is still controlled by Democrats, is not going to do that?
You know, I think the number one thing is we saw on November the 2nd pretty much a mandate. The people want this repeal done. And I think what's going to be different than the way it was pushed through was it's going to, with the repeal and then the replacement starting up tomorrow, it's going to be done with transparency, and then both parties will be involved. So I think it's a pretty big step.
We've got a new NBC Wall Street Journal poll out tonight. It shows opposition to health care reform weakening. Right now, it's 46% thought it was a bad idea. 39% oppose it, and voters are nearly split now on repeal. 45% say repeal it. 46% oppose repealing it right now. It's not exactly a mandate right now for getting rid of this bill, is it?
You know, I really, Chris, when I go out and I speak to the people in my district, it's really interesting. I did a Bob's for Jobs tour, visited with 34 different businesses, and not one of those people like the as they call it, the reform that went through. Not one of the business owners, the job creators of my district that I visited with, like what transpired.
Well, you talked to the job creators. Did you talk to the people that didn't have health insurance before and are hoping to get it now?
Yeah, you know, and that's a really good point you bring up. You know, for 4 years, the people that don't have it, the uninsured, aren't going to have it for another 4 years. We're going to pay on this thing for 4 years before the majority of it even kicks in. So, I mean, what we need to do, Republicans and Democrats need to sit down and we need to do some reform that's going to be good for all Americans. You know, and this bill really didn't do that. I mean, that's the reason we had the Cornhusker deal. You know, it was done. You know, a lot of things weren't done in the forefront, and that's what this country's asking for, and that's why 87 new freshmen are here in Congress.
Well, you know, I've been watching politics all my life, and I've waited for either party to do health care. The Democrats did it. The Republicans never did anything to deal with the fact that right now, by the way, the latest number I have from the Urban Institute is that hospitals now have to pay out $60 billion that they basically get from people who are insured to pay for people who sit in the emergency rooms who aren't insured. How do you deal with that as a Republican? $60 billion our hospitals have to pay for health care for people who wait in emergency rooms. Is your party prepared to pick up the load and find some way to finance the people who are uninsured if you kill the Democrats' bill?
You know, what we're going to do is we're going to knock this bill out. We're going to come back with true reforms. And I think when tonight's vote passes through, you're going to see some Democrats that are going to shift over, you know, and it's going to be more of a nonpartisan. You know, when we look at what happened last time.
Yeah, but that's not answering my question, sir. Congressman Schilling, what are you going to do about that $60 billion that hospitals, including your local hospitals, have to pay out for people who every Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday are sitting in those emergency rooms ready to get primary care they can't afford because they're not insured? Those hospitals put that money right on the back of insured people. What are you going to do about that as a Republican, if anything?
And Chris, that's not going to change with Obamacare. For 4 years, these people are still going to be uninsured, and that's why. I mean, I'm a guy that's run a business for the last 14 years. I'm new to this game, but I can tell you this. You know, when I go out to the people in my district, they tell me, "Hey, Bobby, what's going on right now? Shoving all of these different things through." You know, and this is where it's so important, Chris, for the Republicans and the Democrats to sit down and get this thing straightened out. Either way, I mean, right now with the folks going to still be uninsured for the next 4 years, it's still going to be an issue. You know, JK Creative in Quincy, Illinois, Mike Novus, you know, here's a guy that says, if this thing passes, Bobby, he says, I'm going to tell you right now, he says, I'm going to let people go so I can stay under that mark. And that's the problem. This is going to crush more jobs, and anything that's going to take jobs away from American people, I'm going to vote against it, and that's exactly what I'm going to do tonight.
That's the Republican argument. It's a job-killing bill. I know that's your argument. Let's listen to Michelle Bachmann from Minnesota, the Congresswoman. She made a rather dramatic statement on the floor just a couple minutes ago.
This is not symbolic. This is why we were sent here, and we will not stop until we repeal a president and put a president in the position of the White House who will repeal this bill, until we repeal the current Senate, put in a Senate that will listen to the American people and repeal this bill.
Is that the use of, I've never seen the floor used like this. I mean, I worked on the Hill. You're a member, elected member. I've never seen politicians come on and say their purpose in life is to end someone else's political career, to defeat another politician. Isn't there any minimal civility left that somebody like Bachmann? Well, first of all, she's there. She was elected. That nobody can do anything about that. But there she is saying that her purpose in life now is to eliminate a presidency. Do you think that's good politics? To just talk like that?
You know, I think what she's saying basically is here's a president that she feels has taken us down the wrong pathway. You know, I believe that we're going to see President Obama become more of a moderate, and we're already seeing some shifting going on.
I see that too.
Yeah, so I mean that's a good thing.
When is Michelle Bachmann going to become a moderate?
You know, you'll have to ask Michelle Bachmann that.
Yeah, I think when the hell freeze is over. Thank you very much. It's great to have you on. Please come back, Congressman Bobby Schilling of Illinois.
Thank you, sir.